nothing too like consultation wise, you know what I'm saying?
All right.
So we just gonna have a general, you ever suffer with any type of allergies? Well, seasonal allergies, that's what we're talking about today.
Only when I got older. Um,
Okay, okay.
not to the extent. You know what it is? It's not really seasonal allergies. I think it's more of food allergies. Um,
Okay.
but you know when something when you start your body's so accustomed to eating a certain type of food,
Mhm.
you think that it's normal that you're experiencing a certain response.
Yeah.
So, for me that was like wheat. And then when I took it, I'm coming, baby. Yes, baby, I'm coming. Okay. Just tell Tati to turn off the fire for me. Thank you. Yeah. And then you take it out your system. And then once you put it back in your system, you realize that that was the culprit. So for
Yeah,
me, that was.
yeah, yeah. That's what be affecting people. But it's so hard to take out the diet, at times,
Yeah.
you know.
Everything has it.
Yeah, most of the time, well, when it comes to the seasonal allergies, we know we're talking about the pollen and stuff that blows in the air. Um, it causes a lot of different reactions by the body. Most people say it's just an immune response by the body.
Mm.
Uh, because I mean, when you look at pollen, what pollen is generally is, you know, basically pollen is dust, right? So, any type of reaction to dust, you will get some type of immune response, right? Because dust is not something that we breathe in,
Right.
especially in high levels like pollen. But pollen is just not dust. It's actually it's used for fertilizing, right? It comes from the male organs of the plant, as they say,
Right.
right? So actually, you could chalk it up as sperm, just plant
Mm.
sperm, ready to fertilize.
Mm.
But what even yesterday, a young guy came in and he was like, his son has like, bad allergies and asthma. And the first thing first thing I asked is how is his water intake, right?
Mm.
Um, because remember what we're dealing with. We're dealing with dust, right?
Right.
Since it's only you on here, we could go into some of the elemental stuff, right? Dust represents the earth, right? It's from the earth,
Right.
right? So if there's overabundance, a dominance of earth in the body, right? What is going to happen? What would you say? What element would you use to actually, how to put it, bring that dominance back to where it's supposed to be, right? When we talking about the
Mm.
elements, we're talking
That's
about water, fire, air, and ether, right?
okay. So let's go through each one of them. Now,
Mm-hmm.
with earth, let's just say if it's some type of dust or soil, or if you
Yeah.
put if you put air towards soil or dust, it's just gonna spread it. If you
Well, wait. That's the way we're going to spread it. But check this out. When the pollen enters the body, people tend to sneeze and cough, right?
okay, so you're talking about internal. Okay, got it.
Yes, yeah, internal. So
Okay,
when it
right,
starts to sneeze and cough, right, it's releasing air
right,
forth, right? It's trying to expel the pollen that just entered,
right.
right? It's causing so much problems. Now you
Mm,
move to the next element. Say let's say water,
right.
right?
So
Water
water
is
is just gonna no good.
Well, water will definitely, that is one of the main things for seasonal allergies when people dehydrated,
Mm,
right? Um, because he says his son plays, he runs, and he's energetic like crazy, he runs till he burns out. But he doesn't drink water. He say he drinks everything else, right?
mm,
So his body is basically dehydrated, right?
right,
And what happens is now when the pollen comes in, which is the dust, and it's dry, right? So if the body doesn't have enough water to dilute it, what will happen? Then the body starts reacting in a defensive mode, right?
Right.
Not really defensive because it's more of a offensive. It attacks anything that comes.
Attacks. Right, because it's staying in there and uh it's not being removed.
Yes, right. So the simple fact of drinking enough water and being hydrated, right, could help with allergies, right? Yes, it comes back to drinking proper water. Um, it's hard to find good water these days.
For real.
you know, um, I'm just saying that because I had the experience to drink spring water, water that's actually coming out from the rocks, from the earth.
Mm,
It tastes nothing like the water that we drink now.
of course.
Um,
They
you
contain so
know,
many minerals.
yeah, that's the thing. And the water that we drink now doesn't have any. So now,
Right.
it's not that the water that we drink is not well. Hey, listen, it is what it is. It's contaminated, and you know, it's just to get the right water in. Right?
Right.
I always say, there's a lot of waters out there that run you a good penny. Just get some lemons, slice them suckers up, and put them in your water.
Right. So that
Right?
kind
Just make sure they have seeds. Right?
of, right.
We don't do anything without seed.
Right.
Right? So with now we know that the body produces histamine, which they say is immune response.
Right.
Right? And it's trying to it releases it into the blood, into the cells, everywhere. Right? Trying to you know, take care of the pollen, right? The invaders. And with that, it inflames the body, right? Especially the breathing part of it. But the thing is, it's not only that histamine is a immune response, it also works as a when the body's low on water, right? The main organs, your vital organs, they need water, right? Remember the body is 70 plus water percent, right? So when the histamine kicks in, right, it's not only fighting against things that enters the body, but it's also trying to protect the organs and give them enough water, right? So if now you dehydrated, right, and then your body is using whatever little water it has to protect the organs, obviously there would be more fire in the body than anything else, and that's why things become inflamed, right? The
Mm-hmm.
bronchial, the lungs, the the eyes, the nose, the sinus, and all of that, right? So simple, as I say, simple thing. The first line of defense is your water intake, right? You put enough water in, you should be fine, right? Um, and this is more for the younger ones, the children, right? Because as you get older, I mean, older people drink more water, I would say, I would hope, right? But when you have a child running around all day and you just want to give them juice or soda or something like that and no water, you could run into problems,
Right.
because even when you ought to take them for a breathing treatment, I mean, what is the mist that's coming out? What is it? Isn't it a mist that comes out of that mass?
Mm.
You know, and more than likely it definitely has water in there, right? So
Mm.
that's one part of it. When it comes to immune response, because we know, all right, they get the runny eyes, runny nose, sinus issues, sneezing, coughing, and it could go all the way to difficulty breathing, right? So with that said, right, now we look at the immune response, how we strengthen the immune system, right? Because a lot of people have weak immune systems, right? Um, where you could look at herbs to strengthen the immune system. Always elderberry. Um,
Just
you
had
got
some this morning.
Hmm?
Yes, I just had some this morning.
Okay, right. You look at elderberry. You look at elder flowers. I like the elder flowers instead because it's a flower, right? And you get pollen from flowers and stuff like that.
Mm.
So the elderflowers work pretty well also, and it doesn't taste bad at all. It tastes pretty good.
Mm.
Um, there's other weeds that we call them out there that it's not that they but they do help strengthen the body, and that's because of its mineral count, right? So when you're talking allergies, you're looking for stuff like nettle, right? Stinging nettle. That's a number one,
Right.
right? I had many people use stinging nettle and allergies is gone within 3 weeks. No more allergies,
Mm.
right? You got stinging nettle. You have calendula flowers. Shoot, you could use lavender flowers too, spearmint. Depending on how bad it is, though, you gotta work with it, and build the body up.
Right.
Not so much the immune system and the immune response, but just the body in general, because we know the body is a high mineral body. You're a high mineral being, so you got to get them minerals in,
Right.
right? The reason why nettle is so, how to put it, boy. The reason why nettle is so great at what it does is because of the mineral count. I don't know if anybody here ever like hold some dry nettle in their hand and actually smell it. It smells just like it gives you a sea smell, like a fishy smell,
Mm.
right? And we know that anything that comes from the ocean, right, like kelp and dulse and wakim and bladderwrack and Irish moss, right, they're loaded with minerals because that's
Right.
what you get from the sea, right? So nettle comes with the same type of minerals. That's why it not only helps with the allergies, but you're gonna see a lot of energy. You're gonna have a lot of energy. That's why you won't drink it at night, right? You
Right.
drink it at night, you ain't gonna be sleeping.
Right.
Right? Because a lot of energy. It grows your hair. It helps your skin, tighten up and all these different types of things. So nettle is definitely one of them. I love the mint family, right? So you got your spearmint, your peppermint, and all of that. Because a lot of people may not be able to drink certain nettle and ragweeds and dandelion and all of that. But
Why you say that?
um, because sometimes it all depends on how much, right? The intake, right? You can't take too much. I always say you start off. We do a teaspoon to a cup,
Mm-hmm.
right? You drink 1 cup a day, and then you work your way up. After next day you drink 2 cups, following day you drink 3 cups, and if you continue drinking 3 cups a day, I guarantee you within 3 weeks or so, you'll be fine. You won't have no problems with these allergies. And the best time to
So
do it. Go ahead.
no, no, I was just gonna say. So explain what's going on in the body when you put a certain herb or something new into the body. Why is it reacting against it instead of for it? Because your body recognize it, but it seems like there's more of a struggle. That's why you're suggesting to start small and then put more. So what's going on in the body that's making that
Right.
happen?
Because now you see what happens in the body is for you to even have allergies and for your immune system to be low, right? It all comes back to your diet, what you're eating, right? I always tell people, listen, you are a living being, so you should be eating living food. That's is how you fuel energy. You can't fuel energy with dead food, right? So if I'm putting in a bunch of dead food, right, my immune system will drop, right? It drops very low, right, to the point where when it needs to kick in, it gets so aggressive,
Mm.
right? It feels like it's attacking the body.
What are those symptoms? What would you feel?
When your immune system is low,
No, when that happens, when you feel like the body it's attacking itself
it's
because you're
attacking itself. Well, that comes from the runny eyes,
okay.
and it's uncontrollable. You can't control it,
Okay.
right? The aggressive sneezing to the point where you sneeze and you feel it all in your back, your lower
Right.
back, and then that also comes from from exercise. Are we exercising enough? Are we breathing correctly?
Right.
Right? Because if you don't train your breathing, right, like to breathe how we were born breathing,
Right.
right, and we start, because you see it, a lot of people breathe and you see the chest rise up when your chest shouldn't be rising up. Because if the diaphragm goes down, your chest shouldn't move at all when you breathe.
Right.
Right? It's only the abdomen should come out. That's all. So you will see those type of aggressive behaviors with the body because it's trying to expel the pollen as fast as it can, right? And then, I mean, on a next level, you can look at it as, it's pollen, right? Pollen is used to fertilize. When we talk about energy and the source of it, right? Like energies come together. So if I inhale pollen, which is as we say, let's say it's sperm, it's fertilization, right? But what it's gonna do once it enters my body, especially if it gets into the lungs, right? It's gonna start penetrating the lungs, right? So the exchange of the gases is gonna be hard to accomplish, right? Especially when the bronchioles and all of that is inflamed and it's closing up,
Mm.
right? So now the histamine kicks in, and the histamine is trying to deliver, it's trying to fight, and it's trying to deliver enough, because what the histamine does, it dilates the capillaries, right? And the capillaries not only go from the arteries to the skin, right, or the organs, but it goes to the organs too, right?
Mm.
It's not just one trunk line going to one organ and then that's it. It's a bunch of capillaries in there, right? And we need those for the vital organs to function, right? So it could be tricky, but as I say, if you prepare the body, right, you build up the immune system, you give it what it needs, then you won't have any problems with all these allergies and the different symptoms that you get.
Right. You see how like it's so important for people to know what's going on in the body, because everyone is like, okay, well, they think allergies is all about just sneezing, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
really know what's going on in the body that's allowing that to happen, or because once you know exactly why your body's reacting that way, you know how to stop it, because you're just going to address pretty much the area that it's contained in.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's important to know like what the body is doing.
You have to know, because all right, look at this, right? If it's a high pollen day, right? High pollen day, you don't want to go outside at all, right? But then around 12 o'clock, we have this heavy rain, right? The rain comes and it takes everything down, it washes it away, right? You could go outside because there's no pollen anymore, right? Until it dries out and the wind comes back and kicks it up,
Right.
right? But if the rain comes and really does a good job at washing it away, then you won't have no symptoms of the allergies. So what is the difference between me, the allergies entering my body, me
Right.
being hydrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my hydration washes down all the pollen and gets rid of it.
Right. That's a good analogy.
You understand? So it's not it's not rocket science, it's just simple stuff, as you say. We
Right.
have to know what the body is doing,
Right.
because that's
And
what we do.
you're connected it to nature, like
Yes.
outdoors. So that's yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And that's the thing, because we are nature also,
Right.
right? So, once you start connecting the dots, you know what the body is doing, and we know that the body is always doing the right thing. So I don't go against the body, right? That's the last thing you want to do, is go against the body. The body's always doing the right thing. So, as I say, you increase your water intake. I mean, I have some of this here. Let me show you. Right? I have my little clay powder here, right? If I was to blow this in the atmosphere, right, more than likely I might start to cough and sneeze and all that type of stuff, right? But if I mix it in, when I mix this in my water later and I drink it down, I won't have any problem,
Mm.
right? Because my body is properly hydrated and the dust that it was is no
Mm.
more.
It's a different element. I mean, well, it's a different form.
Yes,
Mm.
right? So it's all about transformation, right? And remember, pollen is a fertilizer, so it comes with very high energy. Just
Mm.
like just like in a man, right? His sperm is very potent, right? And it has to carry that energy force to actually swim up there and try to fertilize the ovum, egg, whichever one you want to call it,
Right.
right? So the pollen alone, it comes with a high energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once it wherever it lands, especially if it lands in the human body where there's water, right? It's gonna start barreling, looking. It's gonna start looking. It's the same thing, right? And that's why it gets so aggressive, and the immune response kicks in, and even get more aggressive because it's like, yo, what is going
Yeah.
on here?
Many things going on, right? Everyone's fighting. It's a battle going on. Everybody's fighting
Yep.
to do the
And,
good thing, and well, actually, well, like you said, like everything that goes on in the body, it's doing the right thing. So,
mhm.
someone's trying to do its purpose and reach a goal, but there's some obstacles in the way.
Yeah, yeah. So, as I always say, if you once you understand what the body is doing, how the body functions, then all of this comes in, second nature. Because now you look at the body, what it's doing, you look at nature and what it's doing. Um, pollen count went up, of course. Um, I read some reports that they were talking about. They thought it would drop after all the most of the grasslands were cleared out, right? But you have to understand that nature wants to be here just like the body. We are one, right? So now, although you clear out grasslands and trees that produce pollen, what will happen is not that they're going to produce less; they're going to actually produce more pollen, right? Because it knows how much pollen needs to be out there. I want to talk about the bee pollen too, which people eat. That's a good one too, right? You could start off with one granule, right, and work your way up. I mean, shoot, I just eat that thing by the jar when it's time, when I need to, right? And that's going back to pollen in itself on a whole and how the energy that it carries, right? When you eat bee pollen, anybody that eats bee pollen will realize how much energy they get after eating 2 or 3 teaspoons of bee pollen,
All right.
right? So now that same energy is coming from the pollen of the trees, right? So your body has to be able to deal with stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
So if you don't have the right minerals in your body, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have problems. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Okay, so
Hmm.
um, all right. So pretty much, is it everyone that suffers from uh this type of allergy?
Everyone.
Yeah, is everyone, because obviously pollen is something that's from nature, right?
Hmm.
And it's natural, it's in the air, and it's something that all of us are going to get in contact with, right? So I know that it's according to your body and its health, on how it's going to react to it. But um is your is that the only factor? Is does everyone pretty much get affected from that, from pollen?
Um, Not everyone.
And
Well,
why is that?
put it like this, not because everyone is everyone has a different diet intake,
Or immune response?
immune response too. Yeah,
Okay.
because me personally, I never had allergies, right? That I know of, right? So I never had no kind of response, right? But if um if my diet was different, maybe I wasn't eating as well and drinking all this bush and all this type of stuff, I wouldn't be surprised because what's her name? What George, right? George wasn't. She wasn't on the best diet there is, you
You
know.
said who?
George, right? I just call her names. Nobody don't know who they are.
Okay.
Right? Unless they hear the name in here. But
Oh,
George was like, she had the allergies, and as I say, I put her on the nettle. Within 3 weeks, she was like, "Yo, the allergies is gone." I was like, "Okay, that's good."
hmm.
But now you got to maintain it with what you're eating.
Right, right,
Right? The foods that we have out here, or the food-like substances that people like to call them, it doesn't carry the nutrients your body needs. Bottom line, right? I would like to do just food one day, right? And that's why we have to substitute with the herbs, right?
right.
Um, you know, and then with the water now, you're not getting fresh spring mineral water, right? Because we know the minerals are in the ground. And when we drink spring water from the ground, it comes with all those minerals. So it actually nourishes the body, right? So if we're not getting it from the waters that we purchase every day or comes out of the tap, now where we have to get to. Obviously, we got to get it from the herbs,
Yeah.
right? So, that's why I drink so much of these teas and all this type of stuff. Because I know what I am. I know my body is a high mineral body, right? Because that's what they say. They say we are energy. So the best thing to conduct energy is minerals, right?
All right.
So why don't put the minerals in? So when these pollen and all these different things start shooting out, and we inhale them, they don't affect us,
All
right?
right.
And some people may think pollen is a bad thing because of the
Right. Right.
response, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not, right?
Exactly.
I always tell people, right? We are nature also. Anytime that we start straying away too far, nature will do what it needs to do to
Right.
get at us,
Right.
right? So the pollen is in the air for a reason. It's gonna when your immune system responds, right, and it responds crazy, all it's doing is stimulating to make it stronger,
Mm-hmm.
right? So so when the pollen comes and you get all these reactions and stuff, now your body is telling you, hey, you need to build up your immune system, make it stronger so that we don't have to deal with this,
Right.
right? And maybe we don't have to send out so much pollen anymore.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Wait, so
but this is what I'm trying to, you see, if
no,
I don't know,
that's a different conversation.
exactly. So, because this is how we communicate.
Communicate. I was just about to say that.
Yeah, we are nature also. Pay attention to what nature doing. Nature doesn't do any just random stuff. It does stuff for us,
Mm,
right? We're the ones in control of it,
mm,
right? All depends on what we're doing is how nature is going to respond. It's simple,
right.
you know. But yeah, and then when you look at pollen, it's a fertilizer, right? It's the sperm from the male part of the plant. So that's coming with all kinds of stem cells and stuff to create, stuff to generate new, right? So it can't be that bad, but the thing is your body's immune response or immune system is so low that it affects it in a how to put it in a negative way because it makes you feel uncomfortable.
Now, how can people differentiate between because like for me, sometimes during the springtime, I don't really pay attention, or I haven't been paying attention to what exactly is causing me to have like, sinus issues or breathing issues.
Mhm.
Because sometimes for me it's year round, all year round. And I know that it's from what I'm eating. It's wheat, because I know when I took that out my system, out my diet, my breathing changed. But
Mhm.
for certain people, how can you tell if it's it's the pollen that's actually bringing on their allergies, or is it their the foods that they're eating that's causing the allergies. Because some people during the springtime, they may just think that it's normal. Like, they won't know that it's a pollen, or they may not know that it's the food. So, or could it be a combination? How can someone, tell what's causing their allergies and themselves, not by going to the doctor or anything, but how can they tell?
Well, it comes back to, all right, so if you think it's diet related, change up your diet. You got to take certain foods out. Um, I say start with the white foods, right? Whether it's the white sugar, white
The
flour,
flour. Mm-hmm.
white rice, the dairies, right? You take them out and you should see change. I know you will see change. You will feel change, right? And then if you want, you could add them back if you want, but by the time you take them out, the way how you start feeling, the energy that you start generating, right? You won't want to put them back in.
Because when you do put it back in, you're going to feel an instant response.
Exactly.
Right.
Right? You're gonna feel that thing in your throat, like, and you clear in your throat all the time, or you feel the sinus start to act up. And that's because what they're doing is they're generating a lot of parasites, right? So the parasites now, especially when it comes to sinus, right? That's why people with sinus, they're loaded with parasites, because these parasites trying to get through that blood-brain barrier and get into the brain, and your body will not allow it. That's why we'll just run, 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 and to the point where it builds up so much mucus, right, that people start getting headaches and pain in the head, and it becomes real uncomfortable.
Because what your body is doing, it's protecting, it's forming, it's releasing certain fluids and responses so that it can protect certain organs and certain areas of your body. Okay.
Yes, your vital organs, because you don't want parasites in your vital organs. That's a problem. That's the problem. So that's why the mucus is produced. Right. Anytime something foreign enters and the immune system responds and produces that mucus, it's for a reason.
Right.
Mucus is not the cause of anything. It's an offensive mechanism protecting you from what's entered your body.
Right.
That's all it is. And when it forms now, when you start putting in herbs like elecampane, you putting in herbs like oh my goodness, echinacea, who else, boy? I mean, it's a bunch of them. It's a bunch of them. But once you start putting them in, right? Neem, black walnut, podiaco, all of these to really get at these vermins or these the germs, the bacteria that enters your body that's not supposed to be there, right? Then it's like if you have a cough, right? The cough is dry, nothing coming up. But as soon as the immune system take care of the bacteria, you will hear that cough start breaking, right? And that's the only time you will start coughing up that mucus and spitting it out and all types of stuff.
Right.
But until the bacteria, if the bacteria is not destroyed, right, by the immune system, then the mucus will stay on your chest, will stay hard. You would not be able to cough it up or anything.
Now, with that, right, what can cause someone to, like, say if it stays in the chest and someone is not as coughing as much, what's going on in the body that's making them, because obviously it's an immune response, but if someone is not able to cough as much, what's going on? Because if they can't expel it, then they can't get better because it's not coming out. So what's stopping, that cough? What's inhibiting it from coming?
It could be the amount of the bacteria, right? The immune response is not strong enough, right? So that's why if your immune response is not strong enough for a cold, boom, you drink some echinacea, and it stimulates the immune system to fight even more, right? When it comes to pollen, you definitely, if you know that air, right, the element of air, it brings the first food into the body, which is the oxygen. Without oxygen, we're not going to be here for a while. We're not going to be here at all after a few minutes, right? So that is one area that you need to put in check, like real quick, right?
Right.
So when it comes to fighting bacteria within the lungs, right? You gotta get them things in there, right? Those air elements, right? You need to them herbs that carry that air element and that fire element to actually destroy the bacteria, right? And the faster
Right.
it destroys the bacteria, then the mucus and all of that breaks up, and you could get it out, and you could breathe more easily, more breathe properly, right?
Right.
Breathe
Right.
more efficiently,
Right.
you know. So it how to put it, it's not it ain't hard. It's just, you know, as you say, you got to know your body, know what's going on in your body, and just help the body accomplish what it's trying to do.
Right.
That's all we do, right? So let me see, anything else we need to, any other questions? 347 you have any questions, or you good?
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, I don't see a name, I just see a number. So if you
It's
have any,
B.
oh, okay. Who?
Hey,
Hey,
B.
What the hell? It's
I'm
even
just
hard.
listening in.
I gotta go back and start writing numbers in a book so I could remember.
Hi, B.
What's up?
What's up? What's up?
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm over here like, yep, that's definitely Tamara. I know that voice.
I know you got questions. You better ask some questions.
um, I really don't have many questions. I've never dealt with allergies, so that's not really like, I don't have any questions from experience. And I don't know. I see I know some people have year-round allergies. I don't know if you spoke about that, but if you can touch on what that's about,
I mean, well, the year round
year-round
allergy
allergies, because it's
is,
not pollen. It's not. It wouldn't be
The
pollen
food.
associated because it's not only in spring.
yeah, no, I mean, no, because, you know, you know, if it's year round, you gotta definitely look at the foods that they're eating. Um,
Mhm.
you know, the foods that we get, it's covered with a lot of different things. That's why they say you gotta wash your
True.
food a certain way. Um, and then again, it depends on what you're eating. Are you eating living foods or eating dead food? Right? If
I
you
already
eat
know most of the
food,
cases they're food.
I didn't hear you.
I say you already know most of the cases they're eating dead food.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, and you know, it's oh my goodness. How to put it? You know, if you're eating food that after you eat, it tends to put you to sleep, you know, or have you tired, that's a good indication that you're eating dead food, right? Because it's actually
Mm.
pulling you down, you know, pulling you down to the ground because that's where dead things belong. Um, Another indication of dead food is we put dead people in boxes, right? We put dead people in body bags. So if
Right.
you see a food in a box, or you see foods in bags sealed up, more than like 9 times out of 10, that food is dead, right? We put toxic waste in cans, so you know any type of canned food basically is dead. You know, so when you eat these type of food, they tend to pull you down. You know, so you're a living being, you gotta eat living foods. Bottom line. Um, then we know there's more drugs in the food than or I should say
Then this is.
Yep.
there's more drugs in the foods than in the pharmacies. So I mean, shit, you eating all kinds of stuff when you
Right.
and you know. So it could be a challenge eating wise, you know, but you know, sometimes you just gotta keep it simple, you know that
Mhm.
life comes from the seed. So whatever you're eating, if it's not the seed, It should be from the seed, or should be able to produce seed, right?
Right.
If your food cannot do that, but then what are you eating, right? Because what food supposed to be is actually fuel for your body, right? To energize you, to keep you going. When you run low on energy, you fuel up. When you run low on gas, you just don't let your gas run out. You stop, you fuel up, and you continue going, right? So it's the same process. Um, and that year-round allergies, 9 times out of 10 is the food. You know, yes, you could build up your immune system as you go, right, during the year. Um, there's certain immune building herbs or foods that, you don't want to use on a regular, if it's
Right.
every 9 days or so, you could use it, and then you stop, you take a break, because what
Right.
will happen is the body will just, it gets so accustomed to what you're
It's
feeding it.
like building a tolerance.
Yes,
Right.
you
That's
know,
like echinacea, right?
yes,
Echinacea would be one of them.
yep, you know, um, yeah, and I mean, it is what it is, but there's so much that could be done, simple things to help people through all these different things. But I guess it's just for them to know, and we have herbalist B on the line, we have herbalist Tamara on the line, and they will share the information. They always sharing information. They always, working with others, to get them on the right path. You know, ain't no need to be sick. There's no need to be sick, right? So let me see. Anything else we have to cover?
Mm,
Go on. Now I talk about some herbs to build up the immune system. We talk about herbs for allergies. The bee pollen. You can start eating that slowly but surely. A lot of people.
So like, I don't think I heard the bee pollen part.
Okay.
I know it's good for energy, but what's the difference between like bee pollen and pollen from flowers that gives people allergies?
There's no difference. It's the same. It's the same pollen. Um, it's the same. Just the way how bee pollen, when you eat it, will energize you. The same way the pollen from the trees comes in, it will energize you also. But due to the fact that your immune system is weak, right, and it's too much pollen and not enough water inside your system, it can't really energize you, right? Because there's not
Mm-hmm.
enough water, so everything becomes inflamed, and that element of fire takes over. And we know the fire element is a transforming element, right? And that's why you
Yeah.
get such, how to put it, such aggressive reactions from the body. Whether it's the sneezing, whether it's the runny nose, runny eyes, the coughing, and it becomes real bad, you know. But it all could be stopped in its tracks, as we say. Support the immune system, build it up before the season comes around. Um, I love my nettle. I don't care what nobody say. I make nettle infusions, overnight infusions, where I steep my nettle tonight, uh, and then I strain it off the next day, and I'm drinking that right through the day.
yeah.
And it gives me a whole lot of energy and all kinds of good benefits, right?
Right.
So, you know, as I say, George used it. There's a few other people, I don't want to call no names, um, to get over this whole allergy seasonal thing, so it could be done. The cinnamon, the sweet cinnamon, cassia, um, you could use that also. You could drink it in a tea form. If you drink it in a tea form, you don't have to add no sugar or no honey to that. I don't see no reason for adding a sweetener to it, because it's sweet on its own.
So how can maybe you can explain how someone can either prepare for the seasonal allergies, like because it usually comes in the spring. So now is like it's a vital time for them to start building up their immune system. But maybe you can explain, because you just talked about pretty much the herbs that they can take, So what, and other ways would be, of course, making sure that they're taking out certain things in their diet. So maybe you can give maybe 4 or 5, specifics on what to do to prepare so that you don't get seasonal allergies.
All right. So what to do to prepare, say, starting now, would be to stimulating your immune system, right? Strengthening it, building it up, right? That's one. Next thing, definitely get your minerals up, right? You get your minerals up by, eating high mineral foods or drinking high mineral herbs, right? Then I would definitely say hydrate yourself. You gotta drink water. Water is a must. It's a must. You over 70% water, you have to drink. Because if you don't, when the season come around, fire could take over, right? Next thing would be when it comes to the foods that you're eating also, because all preparation for when the season comes around, right? The foods that you're eating, make sure the foods that you're eating is living food, right? And living food has 5 elements. You could see your 5 elements in there, right? That's what gives life. That's what is energy, 5 elements. So you're going to see water in your food, you're going to see air in your food, you're going to see fire, you're going to see earth, and you're going to see ether in your foods, right? Once you could identify that in your plate, then you know you're eating living food, right? The next one is, let me see. Trying to make it as easy as possible. For the next one is, I would say just, you know what too? When you home, right, they have these filters that they use. If I'm not mistaken, is an ionizer, right? The ionizer that they put inside the house, and it actually cleans the house, cleans the air and stuff, right? You could use that too. You don't have to just stay inside, and you could use that also, like an air purifier, these different things. But I prefer the ionizer because it has a different response with the atmosphere inside the house, right? It doesn't just go after pollen, but you never know what is in your house because of the paints that they use, because of the materials that the house was built with, and you don't know what is coming up from the basement or whatever, right? So you could look into ionizers. They're a good addition to the home with cleaning the air and the atmosphere and all that. And what else?
That's 5.
Yeah, I would add exercise to that too.
Oh, right.
You gotta exercise your body. Your body you are energy, and energy always moving, right? So it's not about sitting down and relaxing. The more you move, the more your body repairs itself, actually, faster.
Oh my goodness. Wow, son. Whoa. Nothing.
No, see what you gotta say, B.
No, I was talking to myself out loud, my bad.
Okay. The more you move your body, the faster you regenerate. So I would say with those 5 things there, you could accomplish a lot. And as you say, a lot of pollen and seasonal allergies, but now you've seen the The food allergies is crazy, right? And that's because we're not really eating food. And I'll leave it at that. Oh,
um,
man.
you know what kind of caught my attention. Maybe you can explain, because I know that people are gonna, listen to this. So
Mhm.
maybe you can explain, because you were mentioning when you look at, because some people have to learn how to choose their foods. They have to learn how to get to know their foods, right? The real foods. So for someone who's really now getting into the elements and knowing what they are, and that, whatever they are, what they eat, how can, like, explain, let's just say if you have a pear, right?
Mhm.
So because when people go shopping, you want them to kind of really understand what they're choosing, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not only for taste, but it's also for health and for building themselves up. So if someone grabs a pear, right, and it's so-called in season, but let's not pay attention to that. um, how can you look at that and know that there's 5 elements in there? So explain, what are the 5 elements in a pear?
What are the 5 elements in a pear?
Yeah, describe the 5 elements that make up that pear.
Okay, so the pear actually it takes up space, right? So that's your eater right there, right? Then it has form, obviously, right? You could actually touch it, hold it. So it's represented by the earth. Anything that's represented by the earth element has form, right? When you bite it, all that juice runs down. That's a lot of water in there, right? Um, I don't know when you eat pears, they have water, but they also air running through there, right? There's air within the pear also, right? And when you talk about fire, right? That's why I always look for food. The food has to have seed. When it comes to fruits and stuff like that, it has to have a seed. If there's no seed, then there's no life. It cannot produce any life,
So
right?
the seed would be the fire,
Yes, the
the fire
seed would be,
element.
because that seed has the ability to transform itself, right?
Yeah.
So that's your fire element there. So now when you put that in your body now, right, every element is being fed.
So should people eat seeds too?
But of course,
So they need to be biting those seeds when they.
no, well, we came to a point where we don't really eat seeds anymore. We just we spit them out, we throw them away, right?
Right.
And to the point where they start producing foods without seed, right? Well, as I said, they're producing something without seed. I
Right.
can't say it's food, but you know, like a pear. Like this morning, I make what do you call it? Irish moss, flaxseed, um, some tea I had there with the sour palmetto berries, the black walnut, ginkgo, mother's and cayenne. And then I put that tea in there, and then I added some hemp seed, some what do you call it? A banana, and 2 pears. Right? And I chop up everything and I throw it in the blender. I ain't studying about taking out no seed for what?
The stem too.
Them too, everything. Life is in the seed. If the seed is not in there, then that's why they call it, when you ask stem too, why do you think they call it stem cells?
Yeah. That's another
Right?
conversation.
Exactly. And when you see stem cells start to form, you know what stem cells do, right? Stem cells
Right.
bring new life. So don't throw away your stems. Throw that shit in that blender and just blend that shit down. Yeah, and just drink it on. I'm telling you, you won't see the difference, right? But yeah, I mean, other than that, when it comes to eating and dealing with seasonal allergies, it's not a hard fix. It's a simple thing. As I say, remember, the first thing is the water. Make sure you're hydrated, right? Once you're hydrated, Just know what you're dealing with, know what your body is trying to do, help your body accomplish what it's doing, right? And we do that by providing the body the nutrients it needs to accomplish its goals. As simple as that. So if you drink that 3 cup a day nettle, or if you drink that echinacea or that calendula or that spearmint or that elderflower, elderberry, right, astragalus, anyone, right, to help stimulate your immune system and make it stronger, right, then just start adding the food state too. When the pollen starts kicking up, you know, your body could deal with it. You know, it doesn't kick up for no reason, right? As you say, it's another conversation, but it's a conversation we need to have. Because everything nature is doing, it's in response to what we need,
Right.
right? That's all it is. It's in response to what we need. Nature listens to us loud and clear because that's what we are,
Right.
right?
Maybe you could talk about kids, some parents, they want to know how can, because you're mentioning herbs, but some people are new to, to working with herbs. So how can they give it to their children or child, and is there certain herbs that will be too strong for them? Should they start small? How should they, if they don't drink the tea, should they add a little apple juice or maybe put it in their smoothies? So how can you put that into a child's body knowing that they have, although they have allergies, but children are picky, so how can they provide it for them?
What I would say, I know children like colors. So one herb that children love is red raspberry. I've seen as much as what 3 months. I drink red raspberry with no sweetener.
That's Avery. Avery likes that, just like that.
Right? No sweetener. Just drink that red raspberry down. Right? Anytime any type of cold or infection coming wrong, something like that, you get that red raspberry out, you will see that all of that's clearing up real quick. There's other things. There's a thing they make called sambuca, I believe, where it's echinacea and elderberry. It's like an echinacea elderberry syrup type thing. If they want, they could use that also. Um, what else? But for me, when it comes to children like colors, right? They like colors. They like reds. They like yellows, right? So now, for me to get some, say, nettle or red raspberry, elderberries, elderflowers in a drink, right? All of these they would drink with no problem. I know that because they don't taste, they have no taste to them really, right? But if for some reason they're resistant, now here you come with the hibiscus or sorrel, right? So, you put sorrel in anything, everything turns red.
Right.
And as it turns red and you add a little sweetener to it, whether it's some raw honey, whether it's some, you could use the stevia leaf, not too much of it because we know it leaves like an aftertaste. Any type of natural sweetener to it, they will drink it down. You put that in the fridge because you could drink it hot or cold.
Right.
You put it in the fridge, man. Listen, they would pour that out and drink it down like crazy, and they wouldn't even know.
Right. Make that their juice.
Yeah, that's it. They got their juice. They don't care. So all those things you could do when it comes, if you're using elderflowers, you're gonna get more of a yellowish color. And elderflowers by itself is, that shit tastes so good. I think it's next week as I'm pressing out the Herbalist B and Herbalist Nadine, putting an order for some elderflower tonic. So that was they getting that next full moon, they getting that. And when you drink stuff to stimulate your immune system, just know that your body's gonna heat up. right? Your body, you're gonna feel warm. Your body's gonna heat up because your white blood cells are multiplying and getting ready to do some work. So you're gonna heat up, but it's gonna heat up and it's gonna drop right back down. So don't worry about it, you know. But that's what I know with children. You play with the colors and they will drink anything. It's just colors. That's all it is. Color therapy, as they say.
Right.
You know, and make it taste good. I ain't telling you to go and give your child no stuff, bitter stuff. I mean, if they could drink that, yeah, but most children they ain't having that because it's so adapted to the sweet. And when you ask me about if there's anything too strong for them, this is what I would say. If that child is drinking a lot of soda, if the diet is, a lot of meat or whatever the case is, then some herbs ain't gonna do nothing to that child.
Mm.
If they could withstand, if their immune system is strong enough to withstand soda, eh, a little bit of bush tea ain't gonna do nothing to them.
But what if their immune system is low?
If the immune system is low, it just gets stronger.
Because remember you were saying earlier that if someone's immune system is low and then you put
Hmm.
too much of, if you give them, you have to start small to kind of
Yes.
build it, right?
Hmm.
So do you think that same thing applies to a child?
Yes, yes, yeah, it
So just
applies.
start small, but then just
That
build it
small.
up.
Yeah. And reason why? Because people have that fear in them. That they have this fear about herbs. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but I just say
Oh, that's true.
if they have that fear in them about the herbs where, like, oh, this, I don't know what this is. This bush is poisonous. It would get.
All right.
Yo! Right. All I'm saying is, so if that's the case and you have that fear and you start out slow, right? You could do 1 teaspoon, you could do half a teaspoon, it don't matter. Start out slow and work your way up.
All right.
Just like with anything. You have a fear at anything, you will ease your way into it. So
Right.
the same thing with the herbs. And herbs is one part of it, but when it comes to food now, which herbs are food, when it comes to food, you just gotta, when it comes to children, I like dealing with food more than herbs. I don't really give herbs when it comes to children,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if I work with children with the foods, now what will happen is as they grow, they get a better understanding of the food choices to make, right?
Right.
And then later on in life, if they want to, then I'll start adding some herbs and stuff, and they will enjoy it.
All
To the
right.
point where they know every herb, like you can't trick no child if you give them red raspberry. And once they know that, how that tastes and how it feels in their body, you try and slip them some elderberry or some echinacea or something else, they will tell you they will tell you they will ask you what is this,
Mm.
because they just know. You can't trick children. That's one thing.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I like that. Yeah. Work with the foods instead. But you
Yeah,
know what?
yeah.
Some adults are like babies too.
Well,
It's really, if you think about it, it's like you have to not treat, but like certain people, they have to be, you have to start, where they are. So some people are kind of like a child, because they don't really know what's, they don't really know how to eat, so it's kind of like they have to start new again.
yeah.
So maybe that could be applied to certain adults too when it comes to really taking care of their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
And a lot of and some adults too, they don't really know what to eat, and most
Right.
adults look for taste. They look for taste,
Right.
texture.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I think that's the biggest thing because most people, adult speaking, is not really you know, they're adults, so they can eat what they want. They don't no longer have these quote unquote restrictions. But aside from the restrictions, it's like, you know, they want to eat what's gonna make them feel good, like emotionally,
Mhm.
Right.
and what's gonna satisfy whatever, you know, their taste buds. It's not about, you know, oh, this is good for me. You feel me? There, you know, there are some people like that, but the majority of people, they're not really concerned about their health. They're like they want gratification.
Right.
Mhm. And you know how that go, right? That has everything to do with the mind and what they feel and how they're feeling.
Right.
You know, and how they want to feel. You know, because if I'm having a bad day, I want to feel good. I'm going to eat certain things that I know make me feel good.
Right.
You know, so it that's when it starts, how to put it, getting tricky. You know, but as I say, now you're going into the mind and all of that. But
But it's all one.
yeah, that's the thing, mind and the body, right? Or what?
Right.
So, but so we coming up on what? Quarter past the hour. Um, anything else or you want to share with share or any comments, any observations, any next week we just doing discussions. Next week I want to do indigestion. A lot of
The
people have
indigestion.
yeah, a lot of people have issues with that.
Mm.
That's
You
a
know,
good one.
Mm-hmm.
acid reflux and all of that. Simple shit. Easy fixes. You know, we're gonna do that. Then the following week, I want to do constipation. Of course, that has to be done. And
Mm-hmm.
well, let me know, because I don't know why I open my mouth, but I tell somebody in March I'm doing a liver flush, right? And since I did that,
What happened? So many people want to do it.
what? It's like when we starting? When we starting? Come on, let me know how much it costs. Da, 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 da.
That's a
Uh,
good thing. What you complaining for?
yeah, I know it's a good thing, but I was really trying to just plan to do it for, kind of myself, just ease myself in and just, enjoy myself with it. But now I
Nah,
have
as
to
soon
go.
as you made that announcement, it wasn't. It was for everybody. Everybody.
Exactly. Too late. Late. It's too
So
late.
now, yeah, so now, you see, when I do it for myself, I could just do it. Now, I have to put things in place, like, all right, so what we eating for this first week, what we eating for the second week, what we drinking, the teas we drinking, and we doing it for 3 weeks preparation, and then the fourth week we actually doing the flush, right? So it might be a little intense for some, but it's something that we should do on a regular, due to all the different, um, what do you call it, the environment that we live in. It's very, how to put it, toxic, if you want to say, right? So it's something that you do on a regular, right? We know the liver has the ability to hold on to toxins, um, and every now and again we need to flush them out and energize the liver so it could do its job. So that's what I do. I haven't done it in I would say maybe like about a year, or two, but it's time to do it, so I'm gonna do it.
I'm down.
Yeah,
You down?
Oh yeah, of course.
and
Mm-hmm.
and this time I'm not making it where I gotta start making things much easier and simple, because that's what it is. It is simple. So, we're not doing too much products. As I say, I might do maybe like 3 different teas. Everybody gets cool and cleanse. That's it. But I know people like capsules, but I ain't doing no capsules. You're gonna be drinking teas, right? Yeah, and then after that, I want to do something on weight loss. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do weight loss. We're gonna do. If you have any more suggestions, just let me know. So every week we do something until later on. As I say, it don't have to be as long. Just even if it's an hour discussion, we could do that.
Yeah, that was one of them. I was gonna ask you if you were doing weight loss because about the fat holding all the toxins and storing all the toxins in the fat and stuff and clearing out the liver. So yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, and I hope Herbalist B gonna help me with what do you call it, fibroids. That one is coming up. I think it's a week before Mother's Day. We're gonna just touch on it, have a discussion on fibroids. You know, see how it go. See how we could, help some people help themselves.
Spread some knowledge, right?
Yeah, because we have the information and we willing to share it. As I say, we don't do consultations on here. It's just discussion. If you need consultation, you know how to reach us. That's all. And we go from there. All right. So with that said, if you all have anything else you want to share or say, you can, and then we just wrap it up.
Just for people listening, pretty much just start off small. Don't get discouraged, and don't if you end up falling off on a certain diet, if you're trying to get through your seasonal allergies, just know that next week or the next day, it's another week, so just keep on trying, because you're going to fall off, but the main goal is to build your immune system so that you're not affected by the pollen. So yeah, just keep on striving and surrounding yourself by those who will motivate you so that you can stay on the right path, because it's mentally too.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything, they say everything is mental. I don't know how true that is, but
Oh yeah. Think about why everyone is in the position that they are in now, because they're overthinking certain things, or they're applying it to their lives. It's like you have your thoughts have to run through your mind first before you can take action. So if you're in a depressive state, you're going to eat bad. So when 5 years pass by and you're obese, where did that start from? It started from your thought process.
and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I gotta do one on depression too.
Oh yeah.
Because for me, all right, only don't take this the wrong way. I ain't talking about people who are on here right now, but if you look at this later on, don't take this the wrong way. But depression for me is like real straight up bullshit. Right?
I'm offended.
No, I'm just saying, you depressed.
Wait, no.
No,
Let him explain that. Let him explain that. I want to hear this. We have about 9 more minutes.
Okay. If you are depressed, right? Clearly you are depressed about something that's going on in your life, right? So if you're depressed about something going on in your life, why you don't change it?
No, listen, let me say something, right? Because a lot of times depression is not, like, people can have, nothing could be going on in their life and they're still depressed. It's mostly, I would say it's not bullshit. It is real, because it's, a chemical imbalance caused by what? Your diet.
Internally. It's something that you can't really control sometimes, unless you target that internal balance by adding your minerals.
And that's what I'm
saying. If you ask most people why they're depressed, they won't have an answer. They cannot tell you why they're depressed. Like, everything is fine here, everything is fine here, everything is fine here, but I'm depressed. And it would just be like, a chemical imbalance, because due to them not feeding themselves properly or taking proper care of their body.
So then it's bullshit. So then you just gotta eat right and you won't be depressed.
No, you know why it's not bullshit? Because it's like, just like how, just like how your immune system drops and you get sick, right? Sickness is
Mhm.
not bullshit. Sickness is real. Just like how you eat dairy and you get acne, or your blood is dirty and you have things going on with your skin.
Mhm.
These are cause and effect type things. So depression is, even though it's not a physical symptom, it's still cause and effect. It's still your body telling you something.
Mhm.
So
That's just how I
And,
see
and,
it.
and that's the thing. So your body is telling you something. So if your body is telling you something, why not listen to your body?
but you
Why
see
not?
that it's okay. This is what I'm gonna say.
Mhm.
You saying that oh, that's gonna be a good subject. Let's do this next week. No,
Yeah,
listen.
no, that's definitely,
All
that's
right.
definitely a good one because we can talk about it.
Right. All right. So by you saying that
Uh-huh.
depression is bullshit.
What?
Wait, listen,
Damn.
listen, 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 listen. It kind of seems as if you're being a bit dismissive on
Mhm.
people's feelings,
Ooh.
right? So
Yeah.
if someone is, because someone could really be in a deep depression and they don't need, like we said, like they don't understand it.
Yeah.
But if there's someone there to support it,
Mhm.
by you saying that it's bullshit, it's gonna cause it's probably gonna put them into a deeper depression because it's you're using, although words, like you say, words don't mean anything, but
Yeah.
that's not to everybody. So if you just have to use the certain words that are going to encourage someone instead of being dismissive about it. You see
Mhm.
what I mean? But to you it's BS, but for us, if we get past it and we start building up our minerals to really understand the
Yeah.
body and how people think, then maybe we're going to start saying that it's BS, but we can't say that right now.
All right. So this is what I'm going to say. You guys, you ladies are right, right? But you know me, right? And when it comes to words, I use them because I know how they trigger people,
You
right?
sure you don't trigger somebody with that word?
But of course, if I say depression is bullshit, I'm gonna trigger a whole lot of people. And the thing is, when I trigger those people, they will want to come on here and actually share their views, and then we
Okay.
can actually have the conversation and really break this down and reason to see where we could come to some type of medium,
Okay.
right? So you see how I trigger that shit there?
You sure did. We're about to beat you up.
Right?
To come through
Because
that phone.
exactly, right? So, but I know people suffer with depression. Um, depression is also comes with food, right? What we put in, but we will address all of that when we get to it.
All right.
But I know that's a good one. It's one that a lot of people suffer with, and it takes work because it's not only the physical, but we're dealing with the mental too. Mental and the physical is all one,
All
right?
right.
There's only two things, the mind and the body, but there's only one. When they come together, they form one, which is the spirit, as we call it, or
Right.
energy, right? And we're going to deal with that. And, I'm just going to go through the calendar in a little while and make sure everything is up there and then start posting the events and stuff, the discussions.
Nice.
Uh, with that said, we just gonna close out today. All right. So, and is there anything that you take away, or you I don't know, any last comments per se?
No, just a great discussion.
All right, cool.
Enjoyed.
All right, cool. So until next time, we gonna talk. All right.
All right.
You breathing
Enjoy
hard.
your day, everyone.
What you eating? You cooking today?
Who, me?
Yeah, you are talking to Herbalist B.
Oh, um, probably people got to eat, so I guess I am.
All right, only living foods, right? We're not doing any dead food.
You're right.
Never.
Tomorrow, same thing. Only living foods, no dead food.
Yeah, just my bad.
Keep it, keep moving forward, right?
Yeah.
All right then. So until next time, till next week, we're gonna talk.
All right.
All right.
All right. All right
Okay.
then.
Later.
Bye.